evening. The topic respected Dr. Shashtaran Pillai and honorable speakers, Dr. Sulil Mohammed sir, Dr. Rai Singh sir, Dr. Dinesh, and Dr. Ganesh, and dear students and researchers. The topic which I am going to present is Sustainable Development Goals, Nutritional Security and Small-Scale Fisheries. And this is nutritional security is the theme for the World Fisheries Day today, and that is one of the reasons why I took up this topic. And you know, there are fishers which are who are actually unheard as far as India is concerned, and they are not represented in policy making. And at the same time, they contribute to the nutritional security and food security of the country or globally. And that is the reason why I focus my attention on this topic. And this is, you know, the a title of a Malayalam film, Nettoli Oru Cheriya Meenalla. If I can translate it into English, you can say that the anchovy is not a small fish. And the reason is very simple, because this is a fish which is very small. But if you look at the, you know, as a group, the anchovy or the whitebait as a group, and if you look at the global statistics, this is one of the most dominant commercially valuable pelagic species, this group in general. And as far as India is concerned, this is a very important fish because it's a small but nutritionally highly rich. And also a species which is also used as a bait in fishing a larger species. So this is very important, and the topic which we are going to discuss is also on the small-scale fisheries and the small fishes, which also contribute to the nutritional security and food security globally. Okay, and if you look at this basic statistics, you all know that fish provide more than 3.2 billion people with almost 20% of their average per capita intake of animal protein, and more than 50% in some of the island nations. And also, you know, in the often the undervalued parts of fish, like the spines or the skeletal system, and you know, the head, viscera, and all these things make up 30 to 70% of the fish, and they are highly rich in micronutrients. And that is why, you know, the anchovy and the fishes are so important, where we are not removing the backbone but eating it fully. And that is the same case with the small fishes, which actually support the small scale fishery in India. They are also rich in micronutrients. Okay, and fish consumption has increased from 9 kg per capita in 1961 to approximately 20.3 kg per capita today. Okay, and also at present, at the same time, when the nature's contribution decreases, aquaculture replaces the nutritional requirement of the people. And this is, I'm not explaining this, this is very clear from the photograph itself, the nutrition which is provided by the fish and fishery resources. And also, if you look at the key nutrients in the seafood, you will see that almost all these major elements are represented in fish. And this is very important. Normally, you know, the skeletal system is removed from the fish, and the latest studies and reports indicated that this is very, very important for nutritional security. For example, and this is a comparison of the nutrients in the tuna bones and the maize flour, and the daily requirement for the children. And if you compare this data, it's very clear that when the calcium requirement, it is 20.2 gram per 100 gram as far as tuna bones are concerned, but this is only 7 milligram as far as the maize flour is concerned, which of course is now becoming the common diet in India in the form of parota or Kerala in particular. You look at the iron content, in the tuna bones itself carry 36 milligram of iron. At the same time, it is only 2.4 milligram as far as maize flour is concerned. And that is the same case with you know, zinc and other essential fatty acids. That means ideal, these are fish products are ideal complements to starch-based diets, particularly in countries like India. So that means every part of fish is so important, and you need not even leave out the bones, which are also highly nutritious in that sense. And let us now discuss, you know, the global status, which of course is connected with this. And why this topic is very important, because you look at the data, the latest, the SOFIA report, which clearly shows that we are also globally stabilizing the marine fisheries, and we are also contributing the gap, or the gap is contributed by aquaculture. Throughout the world, this is happening, and I am sure that when after 10 or 15 years, the graph will be reversed, where there will be more contribution from aquaculture, and the speakers after me, including Bryce Singh sir, is also going to speak on the same subject. And but I'm again coming back to the importance of marine fisheries and inland fisheries. And first of all, marine fisheries, and you can see that it is providing a livelihood to the population well in excess of 9 billion people by the middle of 21st century. At the same time, we have the issues with the climate change and environmental degradation, which of course question the resource base of globally as well as nationally. At the same time, we have the United Nations 2030 Sustainable Development Goals, which offer an unique transformative and integrative approach to shift the world on a sustainable manner and also a resilient path that leaves no one behind, so that the development will be uniformly available in a sustainable manner. And critical importance is here for fisheries and aquaculture, primarily because it will provide food, nutrition, and employment for millions of people. And that means there is a connection between people, resources, and livelihoods. That is the reason why the Sustainable Development Goals are very important here. And some of the general facts which many of the fishery students are quite aware, that it provides 3 billion people rely on major source fish as a major source of protein. Okay. And 12% of the world's population depends on fisheries. This is not a small number compared to the other livelihood options. And among that, more than 90% are small-scale fisheries. And more than that, about half are women. That means the small-scale fisheries, which we will discuss further on the definition and other attributes, 90%, more than 90% of the people employed in the fishery sector are in the small-scale fisheries. But they are totally ignored and totally sidelined, marginalized, and among that, almost half are women. And the 40% of the coastal fisheries are responsible for nearly 40% of the world's wild caught fish. That means majority of the resources come from the shallow waters, where the small-scale fisheries has a critical role to play. And again, if you look at the major part of Asia and developing countries, major part of the employment as well as livelihood, it comes from the small-scale fisheries. Okay, and since 1961, the annual global growth in fish consumption has been twice as high as the population growth, demonstrating that the fisheries and aquaculture sector is crucial in meeting FAO's goal of world without hunger and malnutrition, which of course remain closely connected with Sustainable Development Goals number 1 and number 2, which we will discuss. Okay. And here, the major part, when we discuss about small-scale fisheries, it provides livelihood and decent work, which is also connected with the Sustainable Development Goals. So, livelihood and decent work. This is very, very important. And for example, women, they account for more than 14% of the people directly engaged in fisheries and aquaculture in the primary sector. Okay. And so employment in small-scale fisheries sector is several times higher per ton of harvest than the large-scale fisheries. We will have a comparison later on. Okay. Now, those who are actually not comprehending about the role of small-scale fisheries, let us define what exactly is small-scale fisheries. And in fact, there is no universal definition for that, what is small-scale. But as the name suggests, they are typically done by a smaller, non-industrial scale. So if you consider that, majority of the fisheries, both in inland as well as marine sector in India, they are in the small scale sector as far as India is concerned. Okay, and those small scale, they are large by numbers. For example, if you look at the number of people involved, the quantity of fish landed, this is something different. And generally, small scale fisheries refers to both the act of catching fish and to the activities happening before and after fishing, including the small scale processing and of the fish. And it also involved, the small scale fisheries also involved the associated tasks like building boats, repairing nets, processing fish, and selling seafood. And they are also including the women who sell fish in households. It's also part of the small scale fisheries. And sometimes, for example, if you look at the inland fishery sector, riverine fishery sector, which is totally poorly documented as far as India is concerned. But we have better documentation for the marine fisheries thanks to CMFRA and the systematic methodology they follow. At the same time, in inland fisheries, we have no such documentation. At the same time, there are a large number of people and families involved, and they gain their employment through this sector. Okay. And there is no year-wise data. There is no area-wise data in many of the inland fisheries sectors. Okay, and also many of the products are sold in the local markets, and which of course are not included as part of the national statistics. And as a result, the data documentation is incomplete, and therefore we will not get the actual data and the actual number of the fishing hours and the economics, the total economics of the system. And but here for this context, we are not including the recreational fisheries here in this definition. And over half of the catch in the developing countries is produced by small scale sector, and 90 to 95% of the small scale landing are destined for human consumption. That means major part of the landing is directly used by human consumption, and that is why they play a critical role in maintaining nutritional security as well as food security. Okay, and those who are interested, there is a very interesting publication by World Bank, and this is called Hidden Harvest, the global contribution to capture fisheries. It's a very interesting document to see how the catch is actually hidden, and it is not documented and will not form part of the global analysis of data. Okay, and this report called this Hidden Harvest shows that the subsistence fisheries are a large economic activity, and it provides a lot of employment, particularly in the rural sector. That's point number one. And second is role of women in fisheries. Okay, and that is not limited in catching fish, which is not very common, but at the same time they are involved in processing and marketing. Okay, and they are also investors in credit, especially the own help groups are now economically self-sufficient, particularly through the Kudumbashree activities in Kerala, and then they also play a role in producing value-added products. Okay, and small-scale fishing communities are among the poorest and most marginalized, even compared to the tribal people in India, or for that matter in Kerala also, and with the social ills, and it may be further marginalized by the failure to recognize their importance in fisheries. So this is also important to recognize the role of small-scale fisheries in the assessments. Okay, and employment in small-scale fisheries is several times higher per ton of harvest than the large-scale fisheries, and small-scale fisheries generate less waste in the form of discards, because bycatch and discard is a major problem as far as marine fisheries is concerned, but that is not. Even a small fry which is caught in through the small scale fishing, particularly in inland waters, are used for human consumption, and that is not dumped back into the system. Okay, and like other primary production sectors, fisheries tend to be more important in developing economies than in developed economies. So that means in the countries, developing countries like India, this is very, very important. And as far as the marine sector is concerned, you look at this latest annual report of CMFRA, you can see that non-motorized sector contribute very less. But remember, the small-scale fishermen are also involved in both the sectors, mechanized and motorized sector, even though we cannot have a delineation possible from among these workers. Okay, because in Kerala, this is becoming more and more capital invested sector, and so I'm not discussing further on that. Okay. And those who are, especially new to this field, particularly the young students, there is an update of the Thomson table, which actually provide you with the comparison of the large-scale company-owned or the corporate sectors, as well as small-scale artisanal fisheries. For example, number of fishermen employed, and in the large-scale sector, it is 2 million. At the same time, in the small-scale sector, it is 30 million. Okay. And if you look at the marine fish caught for human consumption, if you look at the corporate sector, it is 40 million tons annually. And at the same time, with lesser investment, it is almost similar as far as the inland sector is concerned. And capital cost or capital investment for each job on the fishing vessel, it is 30,000 to 300,000 US dollar. In the large-scale sector, the same time it is small, 100 to 5,000 in the case of a small-scale sector. And bycatch and discard, already I told you, it's huge. Some data of FAO show that it may go up to 8 million per year. At the same time, it's only 2 million tons in the case of the small scale fisheries. And marine fish caught for industrial conversion to, the reduction to meal, fish oil and other products, it's very high. At the same time, it's almost zero as far as small scale sector. Reason, almost all the fish caught are consumed by humans. And oil consumption, when you compare the energy requirement, particularly in the context of climate change, you can see that it's 30 to 40 million tons annually, whereas in the small scale sector, it's only 3 to 15 million annually. And fish landed per ton of fuel consumed is 1 to 2 tons, but at the same time, it's very high, 3 to 15 tons in the small scale sector. And fishermen employed in this sector is 3 to 30 as far as large scale sector is concerned, or company sector is concerned, but you can see it is 200 to 10,000 as far as small scale sector is concerned. This Thompson table clearly demarcate, how the small scale sector differ from the large scale sector. Coming to the next phase of my lecture, which is connected with the Sustainable Development Goals. If you look at the Sustainable Development Goals, some are directly connected with fishery, and some are, very closely connected with fisheries and food security. You look at number 1, the Sustainable Development Goals, which is to be achieved by 2030, and no poverty, zero hunger, directly connected with the small scale fisheries because it provides nutritional security and food security to the people concerned. Good health, again connected with the poverty. And then if you look at gender equality and things like that, and there also you can see that women are employed more in the sector than men compared to the other sector. And then specifically, if you look at the goal 14, and which clearly demands conservation of resources while utilizing it in a sustainable manner. After COVID-19, there is lockdown, and fishery sector and small scale fisheries highly impacted. And at present, 820 million people around the world are experiencing chronic hunger, and of these, 113 million are coping with acute severe food insecurity, and further the access to food may be a serious issue. You look at some of these socio-economic changes happening somewhere in Africa, and this is an indication that this is going to be a severe problem after COVID or post-COVID period. And at the same time, there are large number of initiatives internationally as well as nationally where the marine sector or there is a strong stress towards blue growth and the blue development. Okay, and this development further necessitate the conservation and sustainable use of the resources, as well as giving due credit to the small scale sector. And you look at the blue growth initiatives, which strongly focus on the marine resources as a as a stimulus for the total economic growth of a country. And there is expectation that when you have a more and more investment in the sea, and you can see that the fisheries is not a major contributor, and there is going to be major contribution towards aquaculture from the sea. At the same time, there is going to be a stronger focus on deep sea mining, which probably the marine scientists have to discuss in further, particularly the environmental impact, the environmental impacts connected with the seabed mining, and of course the resources availability. These are some of the future issues probably we have to discuss. And another contemporary issue is the climate change, which is happening both in Kerala. If you look at the Sundarbans, it is happening. All these things ultimately will impact the small scale fisheries because they lose their home, they lose their beaches where they settle, and then they lose their fishing gears as a result of climate related things. And now the FAO has come up with a series of publications which ensure that this sector is duly recognized, because global food security and nutrition is connected with that. And for example, some other things which are directly connected with the UN Sustainable Development Goals are no poverty, no hunger, 5 gender equality, and then the reduced inequalities, climate action, life below water, and life on land. All these things are directly connected with the fishery sector, and therefore we need a better strategy to address all these issues separately. Okay, and if you look at the features of small scale fisheries, and this is dynamic and diverse, at the same time provide nutritional security for large people, and it provide employment for a considerable chunk of people around the world, particularly women. And then if you look at the target 14B of the UN Sustainable Development Goals, you can see that the Sustainable Development Goals include a dedicated target for small-scale fisheries. If you look at 14B, it is provide access for small-scale artisanal fishers to marine resources and markets. Okay, and that is again the direct connectivity. And at the same time, their fate is not that much better. Despite their important contribution, small-scale fisheries often remain marginalized. Fishers, okay, as well as fisheries. And fishers and fish workers are often excluded from the decision-making process because many of the catch statistics are not incorporated in the national database, and therefore they are not given due recognition, both in the preparation of policy documents as well as in decision-making. And their contribution to food security and nutrition, poverty eradication, equitable development, and sustainable resource utilization is not fully realized. Okay. And coming to the conclusion based on the World Bank report as well as analyzing the other policy documents, we can say that there is national and international fisheries agencies, including non-governmental organizations. They should alert policymakers and decision makers to the value of captured fisheries as a primary industry that underpins the economic activities of an extended value chain and can make economic contributions several times than the landed value of the catch. And then critically evaluate the contribution of small-scale fisheries, which is not happening, including in India. And what is their contribution? What is the economics of the catch data? And what is their contribution to the economic and social development and the ecosystem management? And these are the fundamental pillars for sustainable development. If you examine closely, the sustainable development is based on 3 pillars of development. One is economic development, second is social development, and third is ecosystem development or management. Okay. And the national fisheries authorities and other associated people, including statistics agencies, should collaborate to collect data in an extensive manner so that their contribution to GDP is also well recognized, as well as to the entire value chain, which include the associated people as stakeholders involved in this sector. Okay. And before I conclude, then how can we move forward in recognizing them, giving the small-scale fisheries due importance, which is actually appreciated in the international level now? Okay, one is elaboration of guidelines to evaluate the contribution of the subsistence fisheries, including guidance to the use of household and nutritional surveys and poverty profiling to characterize subsistence fisheries. And development of procedures to estimate the extended GDP of the fishery sector. Because when the GDP is calculated, many of the small-scale fisheries, their contribution is not given due recognition. And third is building consensus on the preparation of estimates of economic rents and associated indicators of fisheries sector performance. Okay. And then improving human resource and other capacity in fisheries data collection, analysis, and management. And then better recognize the role of women in small-scale fisheries, and further development of fisheries governance and indicators. We need specific indicators to showcase the value of small-scale fisheries in India. And ultimately, many of them are marginalized. Many of them are actually, socially, their position is much worse than that of the tribals in India. So we need a human rights-based approach when we talk about the small-scale fisheries. Okay, and if you look at the union budget of 2021, there is actually a thrust on fisheries development, and we hope that, and already the Sagar Mitras have been appointed, and there the importance is actually enhancing fish production, fish processing, ornamental fisheries, all the things. And we hope that during this process, the fishery sector may improve, and also the fisheries production will improve. And the youth, because this group is represented by youth, and they have a special role to play in the coastal areas, and at the same time, when you particularly in fish processing and marketing. But when you are in the field, you remember there are some people who are actually marginalized and not recognized in the white paper, and they are the small scale fisheries. And you give them due recognition, due respect, because they are part of our own system. And that is why, if you look at the sustainable, the SSF for small scale fisheries guidelines by FAO, there are important components. One is actually raising awareness. You know, the knowledge products and out, the people should know the importance of small scale fisheries and the people involved in the sector and their contribution to the sustainable development goals, particularly in point number 1 and 2, goal number 1 and 2, eradication of hunger and poverty, and strengthening science policy interface. Because the data, when we analyze the data, which will probably influence the policymakers, you need the better data, which will prove that the small-scale fisheries is so important to consider. And then supporting implementation and empowering stakeholders. These are the major, thrust areas for future consideration. And of course, bringing these people into the mainstream sector. Thank you so much.